Well, us Dexter fans are going to be eating good for a while. Dexter Original Sin is the brand new entry into the Dexter series. It was released earlier this year, and it stars Patrick Gibson, Molly Brown, Christian Slater, and Patrick Dempsey. And yeah, I was actually very doubtful about this series, honestly. I was not interested in the slightest on a Dexter prequel. I thought that I knew everything about Dexter's past that there was to know. I didn't need to know anymore. I waited for this all to air. I did not want to waste time on a weekly show that I just was not interested in. So I waited for it all to be on Paramount Plus, and I finally binge watched it. And well, let's get started. Starting off with the good. And honestly, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong about this series. First of all, I really, really liked Patrick Gibson as young Dexter. I thought that he did a great job capturing the more masked side of Dexter, where he's social, he's talking to people, but he's still socially awkward. And I thought that he also really handled the darker side of Dexter really, really well, in addition to the more social side of Dexter. Patrick Gibson, I would love to see a season 2 just for this guy. Then you got Christian Slater as Harry Morgan, and honestly, I was expecting James Remar to come back for this show, but I really liked what they did with Christian Slater's character. I thought that he did a really great job, especially when he's talking to Dexter. His whole chemistry with Patrick Gibson, absolutely fantastic. Feels just like Michael C. Hall and James Remar from the original series. I really liked him. Then you got Patrick Dempsey in this show, and it's been out long enough. And the Dexter Facebook pages have kind of spoiled this. He's the villain of this show, and it's kind of kept as a secret for a few episodes. But he's the villain of this show, and I think that he's really good. He's really great at manipulating the situation that's going on in this show to make people believe that he has nothing to do with this until it's actually revealed, oh, he actually is the killer here. I thought that Patrick Dempsey did a really great job at that. I really enjoyed his character, and honestly, the way his character ends up, really, really great. I really love how they did that. There's a few other characters in this show that were pretty good. Sarah Michelle Gellar, she's pretty good as well. I know a lot of people were expecting her to be some kind of big bad, but surprise, she wasn't, and she's probably going to be in a second season if they make a second season. I hope they do. I'd like to see more of this. But yeah, I really like Sarah Michelle Gellar. Again, great chemistry with Patrick Gibson as well. I really like the guy they had playing Masuka here. Masuka is one of my favorite characters from the original series. I didn't really talk about him a whole lot when I was reviewing the original series, because Masuka is more just the comic relief character of Dexter, but he did a damn fine job as Masuka in this, and he really had that laugh down perfectly. Yeah, really like Masuka here. Batista, he's kind of just doing a David Zayas impersonation, and it's kind of comical that Batista's been wearing the same getup for 20 years. But, I don't know. I like the guy they had playing Batista. He did a fine enough job. The girl they had playing LaGuerta as well, she did a fine enough job. I thought that she did great. And then finally, the final character I want to talk about is the lady that they had playing Laura Moser, Dexter's biological mother. Oh, she is so good here. And going into this show, us Dexter fans already know what happens to Laura Moser. She gets chopped up with a chainsaw in a shipping container in front of her children. And we knew what was going on. We knew how she was going to end up. But just the depth that they gave her character in the flashbacks really makes the tragedy of Laura Moser hit even harder than it did. And I just really loved how they were able to do that. Really love the way she plays Laura Moser. Absolutely fantastic. Now, the story here is your basic run-of-the-mill prequel, but it's good enough. One of the best things about this show is it automatically retcons the ending of Dexter New Blood. The first scene of this show picks up right where New Blood ended. Dexter is picked up by the cops, taken to the hospital, and revived. And we're getting that Resurrection series this summer, so I will be talking about that when that airs. I will be watching that one weekly, hopefully. I love how the showrunners just said, "Oh, we screwed up with the ending to New Blood, so let's retcon that in the opening of this prequel," and that's where we're going from here. And then because of that, we get the voiceover narration is actually Michael C. Hall. So Michael C. Hall is still involved in this series. He voices Dexter's inner thoughts. I really enjoyed hearing Michael C. Hall as Dexter again. Like I said, story, kind of basic prequel stuff, but I thought it was interesting enough. You got the main plot with Patrick Dempsey's character being a child killer, a kidnapper. I thought that was a really interesting investigation. There's one side plot, actually two side plots that I wasn't a fan of. I will talk about in the negatives, but I really did enjoy the main investigation with the kidnapper. And I really enjoyed LaGuerta's whole side mission where she's a little suspicious of Harry, what he's doing. I know a lot of people weren't a big fan of how that was handled. I kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't terrible. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed the fact that we went back to the Freak of the Week characters that the original series was known for, at least the first couple seasons. We kind of just dropped off of the Freak of the Week characters, after season 4, I want to say. We get that back, that aspect where Dexter's hunting down someone new every season. You get one that's played by Jeff Daniel Phillips, and he's actually in a couple episodes. You get one that's played by Joe Pantoliano. Really interesting seeing all these, not A-listers, but B-listers show up in this series. Really cool there. And, I also really like the gore in this series. Another guy I follow on here, Cody Leach, already perfectly stated how I feel about it, but I'm going to say it again. There's a scene after Laura Moser gets, brutally massacred. There's the scene where they actually find Dexter and Brian Moser in the shipping container, and they had the balls to show her severed head in multiple shots, not just for a split second, multiple shots. It lingers on that carnage. I don't think the original series actually showed that. So, yeah, credit to the people who made this show for having the balls to show that. Also, I really love the subtle recreation of the opening credits of the original series in this show. They changed it a lot, obviously, because it's young Dexter, not regular Dexter. I really like the updates that they made to it with the original music. So, yeah, really great there. That's about all for the good. On to the bad. And there's a couple things that I just was not a fan of. First of all, I was not a big fan of Molly Brown as Deb. I didn't hate her by any means. She has potential to be as good as Jennifer Carpenter. But for this first season, they took all the worst aspects of Deborah Morgan and just put them into this version of Deborah Morgan. Deborah Morgan is just a mean girl volleyball player for most part of this season. Then you have the two B plots I wasn't a fan of. First is Deb being dating some rich asshole who owns a yacht. Could have lived without that plot line. And then my biggest issue with this season is the fact that they used Brian Moser a little too much. If this were a prequel to the books, I would be more forgiving, but this is a prequel to the show, and it's basically Brian Moser is set up as this side killer where Harry's hunting him, and we get this big confrontation between him and Harry in the last episode, and Brian Moser decides to stay away from Dexter because of Harry's speech to him. That would have been fine if they'd left it there, but they didn't. Because in the final scene, it shows Brian Moser still watching Dexter, stalking him 10 years before he actually becomes the ice truck killer. So, I don't know, just the fact that Harry knows Brian Moser's out there, knows Brian Moser's a serial killer, and does nothing about it. What? And also, I feel like, and a lot of people have already said this before, but I feel like they are going the wrong route with Brian Moser. Because every Dexter fan knows Harry Morgan dies because of a self-inflicted overdose because he sees what Dexter is doing. A lot of people, including myself, are afraid that this is going to go a different route and have it where Brian Moser kills Harry. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we are all wrong on that. I don't think we are, but fingers crossed we are. Also, and this one's just personal, where's Dokes? I wanted some Dokes in here. Come on. I mean, wasn't Dokes supposed to be there before LaGuerta? I don't know. Maybe we'll see Dokes in the next season if we get another season of this. But regardless, final thoughts. This was a huge, massive surprise. I was not expecting to like this. I really, really liked this. Dexter Original Sin is a really welcome return to form for Dexter. Although not reaching the heights of the first 4 seasons, it still manages to keep me interested, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So that's my thoughts on Dexter Original Sin. Have you seen this show? Let me know down in the comments what you thought about it if you have seen it. If you haven't seen it and you are a Dexter fan, please go watch this so we can get a second season. However, if you are a Dexter fan, what's your favorite season of the original show? Mine is season 4 for obvious reasons, and you can see my review to figure out why. But until we get a new Dexter season, I'll see you all in my next movie review.